Your boyfriend is meeting his ex-girlfriend or his ex-wife, and it stings. I get it. I've been there. And that's why I wanted to give you this picture of this little inlet with the boats going by, the sunshine, and the trees, and help you remember that these jealous thoughts are passing through and they don't have to stay and lodge and poison you. So I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to cope with jealous thoughts and feelings when your boyfriend is seeing his ex or when your husband is seeing his ex, and show you ways to cope and get through the feelings. You know he loves you, but what if he's still emotionally attached to his ex-girlfriend or his ex-wife? That's what I always wondered when my husband was going to go see his ex-girlfriend. What if they fall in love again, or sleep together, or rediscover their old feelings for each other? What if your boyfriend's meeting with his ex turns into more than just an innocent visit? I remember those days. There were actually months, maybe even a couple of years, of feeling jealous because of my husband's ex-girlfriend. He lived with her for 6 years. She gave him a cat. We still have the cat. I love the cat, but I was still jealous of his relationship with her, especially when he met with her. It took time for me to break free from my jealousy, but I did. I'm totally over it, and you can be over your jealousy too. It's normal and even healthy to feel jealous pangs when your boyfriend meets his ex, but it's crucial to deal with those jealous feelings in healthy ways, or your jealousy of his past relationship will sabotage your relationship. The first thing you need to do is deal with your own feelings of insecurity, fear, and jealousy. I wasn't just jealous when my boyfriend met his, well, now husband, met his ex for lunch. I felt insecure and scared that he still wanted to be with her. I was worried he wasn't over her, that he and she would fall into their old relationship patterns or even feel sexually attracted to each other again. Here's what a reader said about dealing with the jealous feelings she experiences when her boyfriend sees his ex-wife. My boyfriend assures me he loves me and only wants to be with me, says Trish. His relationship with his ex-girlfriend is over and they will never be romantic again. But why does he feel he needs to keep her in his life? Why does my boyfriend need to meet with his ex, and why does she not just let him go? It really is starting to make me crazy. I get it. I let my imagination run wild because I was scared my husband would leave me for his ex-girlfriend. I refused to admit that I felt jealous and insecure, but I did. If you feel the same way, my 5 tips may help you. Number 1, know why your boyfriend is meeting his ex-girlfriend. My husband genuinely cares for his ex-girlfriend. He feels a little responsible for her and he wants to see her happy and stable. Back then, he met his ex-girlfriend for lunch every couple of years, and he's still returning books and random belongings to her. He updates her on the cat that she gave him. My husband reassured me over and over that meeting with his ex-girlfriend meant nothing. She was just a person from his past that he once loved. He just didn't want to completely cut her out of his life. Now that I'm over the jealous feelings, I totally see that that's true. He really just cared for her as a person and he wanted to continue caring for her. And now I get that. Now, we've been married for 15 years, and I see it's all true. His ex-girlfriend was never a threat. She was just part of his past. My husband's purpose for meeting her for lunch and coffee was innocent. She was just someone from his past that he loved and he lived with for years. He enjoyed meeting with her and hearing about how she and her family were doing. So, some boyfriends or husbands stay connected with their ex-girlfriends or their ex-wives because they're raising children together, or just because they had a genuine relationship and a friendship that they don't want to just erase. It can be hard to deal with that, but it's really important to recognize that some relationships are better intact. Not all, just some are better to stay connected. Number 2, recognize when your boyfriend is contacting his ex too often. There's a big difference between your boyfriend meeting his ex-girlfriend once every couple of years or once every few months versus talking to her on the phone every day or texting all the time. One reader said, I saw on my boyfriend's phone that they spoke twice yesterday. He has yet to tell me this personally. I don't know if they're meeting, but I don't trust him. She and her boyfriend agreed that he would tell her when he spoke or met his ex, but he didn't do it. And that's a cause for concern. My husband and I had the same agreement. He promised he would always tell me whenever he's going to meet his ex-girlfriend, and he did. But he also said it was very hard for him to tell me when they were meeting. He didn't want to hurt me or make me feel jealous, insecure, or scared. I have a feeling he didn't want to make me mad either. If your boyfriend is talking to or meeting his ex twice a day, well, that's way too much. You have every right to be jealous. So find out how often they're meeting and what his reasons for staying connected to her are. It could be perfectly legitimate and normal, even healthy. Number 3, don't let anyone call you crazy. This is otherwise known as gaslighting. Some girlfriends feel crazy often because their boyfriends tell them they're overreacting. You're jealous because I'm meeting my ex? You're crazy. Nothing is going on. I love you and you know it. You have nothing to be jealous of and you're being unreasonable. If you're confused about how you should feel about your boyfriend meeting his ex-girlfriend or his ex-wife, talk about your thoughts and feelings with someone you trust. Talk to someone who knows you, who can help you sort through your jealous feelings. If your feelings of jealousy are out of control and you really do feel like you're going crazy because your boyfriend is meeting his ex, consider talking to a counselor. He or she can give you an objective perspective on both your feelings and your relationships. Number 4, be honest with your boyfriend about feeling jealous when he meets his ex. Tell him that his meeting or talking to her makes you feel jealous, uncomfortable, or anxious. Be as honest as you can. If you tell your boyfriend how you feel, no matter how painful it is or how vulnerable you feel, then you're being your true self with him. And that's good. However, don't assume or expect your boyfriend to change his mind about meeting his ex because of your feelings. If he's talking to his ex-wife about their custody or alimony arrangements, for example, he can't just cancel the meeting because you're jealous. He can't stop seeing his kids because you're uncomfortable or feel insecure. If he's meeting his ex-girlfriend or family or needing to see them for important reasons, you can't expect him to change everything because of your jealousy. If he can, a loving boyfriend will change his behavior to make his girlfriend, you, happy. But it's not always possible to make those changes, especially if your jealousy is unreasonable. So you need to decide if this is a make or break situation. Is this a relationship deal breaker? If you can't tolerate him seeing his ex and he refuses or can't stop seeing her, then you might need to consider moving forward without him or breaking up with him. Number 5, this is the most important one. Get emotionally and spiritually healthy. The best way to deal with jealousy, if your boyfriend often meets with his ex-wife because he has to, is to grow a strong sense of self-worth and value outside of your relationship. Are you spiritually grounded in God? Are you emotionally healthy? Socially happy? Can you recognize and stop unhealthy thought patterns? Is your jealousy caused by your own low self-esteem, or is your boyfriend meeting with his ex for unhealthy reasons? Finding the truth about what's really going on involves getting emotionally and spiritually healthy. Your own health and groundedness will help you answer questions that seem confusing. Remember that it's normal to feel jealous when your boyfriend meets his ex-girlfriend or his ex-wife. But it's not normal or healthy to let those feelings sabotage your relationship. There's an author called Randy Gunther. He's actually a relationship therapist as well. They say in this book, in this book called Relationship Saboteurs, sometimes old, unfinished relationships come back to haunt and take precedence over the current one. A couple who could once speak openly and authentically to one another suddenly can't even talk about the truth or listen anymore because of a threat that neither anticipated. Negative issues that were once a small fraction of the relationship slowly overwhelm whatever positive experiences they have. And that's when betrayals happen. That's when promises don't pan out. And that's when dreams change. So don't let an old, unfinished, unresolved emotion threaten or sabotage your current relationship. If you're meant to be with your boyfriend, then your relationship will work out if you both are willing to work on it together. For example, my husband was patient and loving with me and my feelings of insecurity and jealousy. And I learned that my feelings of jealousy totally stemmed from insecurity in myself. I wasn't insecure about our marriage, I was insecure with who I was, and that made me jealous. I eventually realized that he was meeting with his ex for good and healthy reasons, and he's a loving man. He's a good and responsible man, and that's the kind of guy I want. So I was able to learn how to trust him over time. You too can learn how to trust your boyfriend, but make sure he is a trustworthy man. Don't give your heart away to a man that you can't trust. Find out how to trust him if you don't trust him yet, and even more importantly, find out if he is a trustworthy man. I hope these 5 tips are going to help you deal with your jealousy. And remember, those jealous thoughts are like sailboats or motorboats going by. If you let them go by and pass you, you'll be better able to move forward in healthy ways, especially if you get emotionally healthy and spiritually grounded. Don't forget to take good care of yourself because you are worth taking good care of. Mwah!